reality from the couch. Everybody, this is Debbie Smartt. Many have known her from many previous radio shows, as well as when we're doing Charting Your Course. Debbie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm great to be here.
Yeah, today we're going to be taking calls, having a good old time. Let's talk about Lionsgate. Rawr.
Oh my gosh, it did come in like a lion and it's still roaring.
Well, like a lion on the hunt.
I know, I've experienced it, and I know a lot of people obviously have, and a lot of my friends too. It's amazing what's coming up for people.
Yeah, all the predatory energy is such a high excitement. Everyone's energies are through the roof, whatever the charge, polarity, or neutrality is. Yeah.
I know, just in my own circle, that's amazing what's appearing. I get phone calls from different friends, and they just like, there's so much chaos, I don't know what to do. I can't understand why all of a sudden this is all surfacing, and everything's coming to the surface for a reason.
Meltdowns.
Yes.
Now that is something that has been a common theme now for going well over a month now. Complete and total, human meltdowns, whether it's online, private sessions, common in the street. People are having full-on reality meltdowns.
They are. You can see it all over the internet too, on Facebook when you check in there. People are like, so are you experiencing what I'm experiencing? It's, I hope not, but we all are.
Since the beginning of this year, I have been saying that this is the year hope dies. And what is that hope that dies? That 2012, the aliens would come down and help us. Nothing's going to happen tomorrow. Nothing's going to happen the day after tomorrow until we make it happen.
Right.
Until we see people out in the same scale and size of the 1960s and 70s, nothing is happening. But the individual is experiencing something happening.
Yes.
And that's what this Lionsgate experience is. Unique to your individual experience. It is not a collective shared thing yet.
No. It definitely is an individual thing, and you have to really reach deep inside yourself to address what's going on in your own life, because that's what everything's coming to the surface. The veils are getting a lot thinner. We have to address our things. And it's not, if we don't address it, it's just going to come out even stronger like a roaring lion until we actually take a good look at it and see what we need to do to change.
In our show, Charting the Course, also with Kathy Ma, we went very in depth into how personal change, how to chart your course in and out of whatever it is that you're going on. And we like people to go into the website archives, and you can find the 12 episodes of Charting Your Course. We're here today to help people, just let's say, uncover what we're all shared in experiences. So we're a short time, we're going to be taking callers, and we're going to be asking the callers, what have you experienced from the Lionsgate? I'm going to share mine, Debbie's going to share some of hers, and we're going to have a moment where we can have a full round table with the people that are in the chat room, as well as the people that are going to call in. We want people to be welcome to ask questions. We would prefer that this not be a reading, but sometimes that happens. And I understand that each person wants to have their moment of time. That's why I'm doing these radio shows. So Debbie, let's go a little bit more in depth. The Lionsgate, to me, the energies began well over a month ago.
Yes.
Okay? And now we have an eclipse on the 21st. And the Lionsgate was the day of 888. So, in the numerology, what does eights and all that represent in us? A mythos that has been passed down from generation to generation that we all believe in, because how many people in the world follow astrology?
Exactly. And for me personally, what number 8 means for me is completion. So everything's coming up to be completed and addressed.
Yeah. And then the lion aspect of it, something that's imprinted through our megalithic structures all over the world.
Yeah. It is a really powerful force, and that's why it's coming out like a roaring lion, because you have to address it, because you cannot not see it. Yeah.
So we call them the cat people, or Lyrians, or many other names. Lyrian is just one species of the many species of cat people out there. Now, our mythos has this cat phenomenon to it. And that cat phenomenon is what is coming out in the archetypes that are going through meltdowns and eruptions now. So cats, like you have a house cat.
Got 2.
You got 2. So he can wipe out a whole generation of mice if he wants to. And then he has to wait 6 months before new mice come back.
It's interesting that you brought up about the cats, because I've just noticed recently, since July actually, that one's become more aggressive than the other. And I'm sort of, when you really realize what your animals are reflecting something to you as
Something
well.
to you. Oh yeah, your
Yes.
animals are a reflection of the land and ancestors as well as your own personal reflection.
Right, and I see one that's like stepping up into his power, and the other one's like backing down. And it used to be the other way around.
Used to be the other way around, yeah.
So it's really interesting what's happening with them.
Yeah, they've juxtaposed their positions.
Yes.
Now, for me, in my experience that has been going on, let's say 30 to 35 days, in sessions and in radio, we are finding people that are desperately wanting to be awake.
Yes.
And yet they can't turn desperation into tranquility of knowingness. They've ramped up their own energy and adrenal gland, and they're expecting instant gratification for 30 seconds of meditation.
Right.
And they're not giving themselves any form of discipline or time or practice. Now, so many people that have been contacting me and are trying to do their ceremonies are finding themselves disrupted because they can't focus, because it's an instant gratification time. That's the predatory process of the cat. Will I gratify myself until hedonism and there's nothing left? Or will I make a plot and a plan?
Right. Well, it's interesting you say something like that too, because I've noticed that of reflection with the people that have been coming to me, and they're wanting instant gratification or heal it instantly.
Yeah.
And what I give I tell them that you really need to just take it easy, to the point you need to go within yourself and look to see what's pointing out in your life and reflecting in your life. It's a step by step by step process. And that's why I love living the mystical life daily, because you give everybody the process.
Out the script for right now. Actually, Robert, can we still take a call?
Yes, we can.
Let's do that. Let's take a call.
Yeah.
And we are streaming live on YouTube.
Okay.
Johan Hendricks. We'll bring him up.
Yes.
Yes. Johan, are you there?
Perfect. Yes, I am. Good afternoon.
Great. Where are you calling from today?
Johan Hendricks calling from San Francisco, sunny California.
San Francisco, sunny California.
Yes, I
Welcome
am.
to
Good
the show
afternoon.
today. Great. Where are you calling from today?
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. Johan Hendricks calling from San Francisco.
Wait one
sunny
second. We are
California.
getting an echo. San Francisco, sunny California.
Yes, I
Welcome
am.
to the show
Let's
today.
fix
Getting a
that.
feedback.
I appreciate you.
2
Thank you for
seconds.
having me. I can fix that for you. One moment.
Just hold on one second, everyone. All of our presets and audio boards and everything have to be redone here because there was a complete reboot of the TriCaster out of nowhere.
I can fix that for you. One moment.
Hold on.
Well, is this
that's
better
that
now?
Lionsgate technical issues going on again. Redone here because there was a complete reboot of the TriCaster out of nowhere. Consciousness strike. So be it. All right.
It is.
There you are. You back?
I am here, Still good for you, the quality?
All right. We're
Yes.
good now. Yeah, we've been having some technical issues with this Lionsgate. How has the Lionsgate been affecting you?
Magically, I'm very thankful, grateful. New doors, new opportunities, new things are happening, integrating my higher self into me. I'm loving my journey.
Beautiful. And what have you seen for the journeys of others?
I see people more committed towards their life purpose and towards enlightenment, towards awakening, and they're sick of tight where they are and really want to move forward, whatever it takes. There's
Yeah,
a lot of positive things happening.
yeah, that's the positive point of view. Now, both Debbie and I get exposed to a lot of people every week. When you talk 10 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, you tend to have the big snapshot of people. Now, in San Francisco has one set of energies. California has its own. Colorado, Denver. What I've noticed from my expression, the East Coast has gone through its very angry stage and is now in a sadness stage. And the West Coast is now going through its very angry stage, while the Mississippi Valley is going through an exuberant stage.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's going to split the continent in 3. Now, the Lionsgate, in my expression here, is now bringing forth what I was calling the predatory energies, those that are energy takers, meaning they cannot create their own light. Now, you're able to create your own light. So what are the questions that you want to ask today?
Oh, my question is for myself. I'm blessed with the inner stillness, and that's a great gift what a lot of people seek in life, right? Of course, that means you're really connected with your inner knowingness for who you are. But I really love to express this gift even more to the world.
So what year were you born?
I'm born in 22 of June, 1973.
And where were you?
4:50 a.m. in the morning.
Where
in the Netherlands.
In the Netherlands. Just let me tune in a second. All right, so right away there was something extremely difficult with your birth. Do you know?
Yeah, I passed away.
Yeah. Now, there is where a dual set of soul codes came in. Early in the birth, right around 5 days of separation from the sperm and the egg, and the I am was going through its initial planning phase of I'm staying to the womb, you actually had a twin in your womb. And it was not a dual egg scenario. It was a single egg that double fertilized itself. And the other twin decided not to stay at that very early age, and it imprinted upon you another set of soul codes. All right, so once you go to about 7 is where you began realizing really that you have full 2 points of view. And now one point of view held the stillness, and the other point of view dealt with the chaos of the world. Is that about right?
Yeah, but these days I'm very at peace with the chaos. I can look with loving eyes towards reverse. That has really helped me to remember that what I see outside of me is really happening within me, and I need to heal myself. It's not outside of me.
Correct. Now, when you were turning age, let's say 17 going on to 18, in my perception, there is a series of, let's just call them a series of unfortunate events that brought on a bout of, let's just say, self-suppression. And the nature of your question is, what can you do to get yourself more out in the world? And this is where this, let's just say, emotional trauma to the world really began. So it would start with a major disappointment with people, politics, magic, your own experience, disappointment after disappointment that would have slowly escalated until such a time you felt that this world wasn't valuable enough for your skills.
Yes, it mainly happened when I was confronted with the Dutch government. They broke in all my homes and proving you as a drug lord for my company. Even it was proven otherwise, that was not the case, you know.
Right. So
a
lot of things, a lot
blissful years.
yeah. So it's been a lot of stressful years. So now, what I really want to talk about is your thoracic vertebrae number 2. Are you familiar with medical terminology at all?
Yes, I'm a holistic healthcare professional. I'm in the nutraceutical industry and do a lot of healing myself.
So what I'd like for you to do is to focus on thoracic vertebrae number 2. And I want you to observe the fascia that are attached to that. And they are under extremely, extremely high tension. Now this has caused the fascia around the heart to actually misshapen your heart. Okay, you can see this?
Yes.
Okay. Now I want you to see your chest like 2 sets of shoes that have their own laces that are tied together. And that particular thoracic vertebrae number 2 connects to both double knotted shoes, which are compressing your lungs. You are actually at maybe 20% less than your full lung capacity right now. So no matter how much deep breathing you do, you aren't really reaching full lung capacity, no matter how much lung training. As long as those fascia are that tight, it won't goo. What I would recommend is that you find a hyperbaric chamber. and do an hour to 90 minutes, and then focus on thoracic vertebrae 2 and follow the spider web and begin like a ratchet untensioning the wires that are creating the pull on thoracic 2. Now, I want you to go down, go down a little more. We're going to go down to thoracic 6 and 7. Now, we have major spiritual trauma here. This is where at some point you were defending someone in a dream world and you metaphorically had your back broken by another being. Quite severe. In this particular thing, is going to be a bit of a challenge to release. I think we can release it here. So just kind of visualize that area, and what you're going to see is a color distortion. And in that color distortion is water reflecting water. And that is the projection of an infinite mirror source to do damage to that particular vertebrae section so that your cranial pulse wouldn't go below your solar plexus.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are you familiar with the cranial sacral pulse?
Yes. I do correction at least once a month.
Okay, so now I want you to go to the sacranella to the left and right of the tailbone and see how shrinked they are. This is the other reason why you can't get to the next level. You can't pull the fullness of your power into your actual sacranella to have a full-on spinal column kundalini awakening. Now, you've had other kundalini awakenings, but those were with the dog choker collar on. So think of a dog that's got a choker thing, but you have that at the spinal column energy level. Okay? And you can see that as...
release that part?
Yeah. Think of it as not an implant. It is a aspect of a life series of unfortunate events that kept damaging and damaging and damaging. And then when that series of events ended, another series of events, it affected you in another way. Now, that was a system by design to limit you because you were not in ancestral balance with the lands you were living on. No one taught you ancestral magic. No one explained to you that there are things that live outside this frequency of time in the uni world that we are, and they have their own frequency of time, and sometimes it crosses over. Okay? So it's
that makes a lot of sense.
It's very important that you begin to self-research and self-illuminate about ancestral wisdom, ancestral magic, ancestral rituals. One that I regularly talk about, a way to immediately bring some form of remedy and resolve to traumas that were ancestrally created, such as this one, is to make what's called an ancestral soup. And that is literally just boiling a pot of soup for 4, 5, 6 hours. And then calling your energy to the soup, not just in a stirring, but to tell the soup your story. You know, this is who I was as a kid. I liked playing Legos. No, I liked big cars. This was my first girlfriend. I went to college. These are my mystical experiences, as if this soup was a friend of 40 to 50 years. And the emanation of your truth and wisdom as a offered ancestral process, meaning, all right, ancestors that are working with me, here is who I am, and here are my instructions of how to work with me. I am giving this as a pay-it-forward energy of knowingness, and I ask that you come with your pay-it-forward energy of knowingness so we may find unity and community within our multi-frequencies of existence. That is a prayer format that could take 4 or 5 hours or 2 hours, and then you offer that to your lands. Or you can also drink and consume it too. It's your choice.
And it's purely intent and intention that you put into the soup, right? Or
yes,
the water
it's purely
or
intent,
the liquid.
But I would like to call it very adult knowingness intent, meaning you can't just cheap out on the prayers. You really got to find the flow, even if you got to read them.
Yeah, I will do it out loud. That for me works the best.
Yeah, that's just
the
flow.
With that.
Yeah, exactly. I can feel that in you. Now, those are some mechanical issues within you. Now, when did you start naturopath school?
When I was 19.
And how old are you now?
I'm 44.
So there's a distortion in time when you actually started your naturopath school. So here is
I was
where
quite really open, heart-centered at that moment of time, and that was not really working for me, because I closed that part. And now I try to find the key again.
I get it. So what happened is you actually were moved off of the timeline. So there are things out there that can predict us really, 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 really well. Those are sacred geometry prediction systems that are built into the system of domination and control. And they predicted you that you would do too good, and they moved you off the timeline. That's why you lost your heart space. Now, you got to bring your heart space back into this direction and know that there's going to be needing a significant amount of heart chakra work, recentering the soul in the heart. And this is the teaching of finding yourself as the first couple of cells separating, knowing, like I was saying in the beginning, that you had a twin at the first week or so of gestation. That's why you have dual sets of soul codes. That's why you could also come back to this timeline, and they still haven't realized you're back on the right timeline. I can tell you that.
And that's also what I experienced myself. And I can emote love to people, but I cannot receive for the time being. It's
right,
it's
and that is
really,
a personal growth issue this lifetime. That's a spiritual contract from your fetus in the womb. And this is how you'll be able to get rid of that wound.
You shared that, of course. One of my girlfriends was pregnant for 7 months without notice. We didn't know. And she had a twin, and one didn't grow and one grew. It was repeated again in that form.
Yeah, it's the synchronicities going right there. That's beautiful. So is there anything else that you'd like to ask?
Yeah, with all that beautiful stillness or evil that I perceive, I don't know it's true or not true. Of course,
it's true.
You think you are, but you don't know 100% sure, right? How do you get that spark to really move forward? Because you have an internal spark, and you are committed constantly to give seminars and trainings and meetings, right. And I do that too. But it's not something that I jump out of my suit and let's do it. But I do it anyway. How can I get more ignited towards the gift that I have, and in that process also healing myself in the journey?
And this is a conversation that I had with Debbie, how to engage passion. This is really where it's at. How do you really engage passion?
Different ways, actually, but I do utilize a lot of the teachings that you've come up with too, and reading the heart meditations and
the contract revocations.
Contract revocations. When I'm feeling really frazzled about something, I go within myself to figure out where that is affecting me, and then I'm drawn to whatever meditation I need to do to help move that energy.
Right. And these are your coping skills.
Yes.
Yeah. And when we engage our coping skills is where you'll discover passion. The passion to use the coping skills to, let's say, reduce the tension that are in the fascia and in the vision that I helped you understand, or to understand why your thoracic vertebrae are reducing energy going up and down between your upper chakra and lower chakra system. So, passion here is discipline. How disciplined are you really?
To be honest, I'm living no agenda. I'm very undisciplined. I try to work on it, but it's not really resonating with my being.
You're not disciplined to work on the process of discipline.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And that's because you actually don't have a full set of lung breath right now. When you lost your heart,
because I know when you have that, you can breathe much deeper. You can release a lot of emotions and traumas through the breathing,
as well as your pH.
I'm working
as well as the pH in your blood changes and your electrical conductivity changes. You're operating on a very low electrical conductivity right now. So my suggestion is to find hyperbaric chambers. So when you go into a hyperbaric chamber, you have 4 times the amount of air. Now, Debbie, you've been in a hyperbaric chamber. What's it like for you?
I love the hyperbaric chambers. And when I come out, I feel like I've had about 8 hours of sleep, but my whole body feels refreshed. Yeah. You're oxygenated, your mind's clear. I think that's what gives you, when you're feeling really balanced and clear like that, it really allows you to up your passion too for what you want to do. You can think clearly and get right onto it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is my suggestion for you. The next suggestion is also float tank therapy. Now, Debbie, you've done a float tank too, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just disappear when I go into those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another experience, really. The whole body relaxes, but the mind, you allow it to release itself, and you can just go off and have other journeys.
Yeah. And you need that now, where you can take the stillness to the next level. And back to the answer of passion, what I just described is a recipe to passion. The hyperbaric chambers can very much spark your fuel. You have, let's just say, gasoline poured out everywhere and no spark right now. So the spark's got to come from, I want to do this, and there's nothing that's going to stop me to do this. If I'm stopping myself, who do I have to go into myself, put the brass knuckles on and adjust the chakras?
Also, you have to look at what
but you have to find the keys, right?
Yeah. You also have to look at what is your passion, what really gets you on fire, and what inspires you to do that. So you have to look within yourself, but also look without and see what really is going to create the fire within you to get you moving.
I appreciate it, but the challenge that I have is not being aware of that passion, what it will be. It's like a numbness there, right?
Okay, now
normally your feelings and emotions will guide you in that process, right?
Now we're talking of different trauma. Okay?
Oh.
This is what you've taken on from clients. Can you separate the two?
In my opinion, yes.
I don't think that you really are. And I think you need to take a very deep inner reflection on what you have taken on from clients, as well as the projection from the government too, which is still a client technically. It's still within the business structure itself. Business itself is what's suppressing you.
Yeah, I've not been in business since the incident with the government. I have no passion for corporations.
There you go. Okay, and until you get over that and heal the body from it, you won't engage passion, because you lowered your ability for your own soul to be in your body because you were so mad.
It is, because if your freedom's taken away for 5 years, it's definitely a roller coaster.
Right. You gotta find the soul shard that is raging out inside you, and actually say, you no longer serve me. I am now giving your free will to go on your own, and I now cross you over to the astral world to plan your own lifetime, to teach you another lesson of rage from another I am lifetime. Okay, pass it on. It doesn't need to be in your frequency anymore. This is known as making a legacy for your future self. Another way to do this form of mental psychic surgery is to take that shard, or any of the shards that represent rage or anger, and you begin actually talking about all of those rage and anger moments in a ceremonial expression where the ancestors are called in, where those that are witnesses to your spiritual process, or your angelic guides and guardians, these are what I call spiritual courts of equity. Have you read the contract revocations?
Yeah, I read them at least every quarter, all of them, out loud.
Well, this might be...
But I have not recorded them.
Yeah,
I will do that after your suggestion.
Yeah. That might be a good idea for you to, instead of doing it every quarter, to do it from now until the end of the solar eclipse. And make that your temporary passion, okay? Just so you can figure out where the keys are again.
It's also
I put them somewhere.
It'll also shift your energy.
Yeah.
All right, caller, we've got to move on. Thanks a lot for calling.
I appreciate you.
All right, man.
Thank
Take
you.
it easy. We always get to ask some really fun questions.
We do. Yeah. It's really lovely to hear other people.
Yeah. So let's take a question from the chat room here. All right, what do we got? So there's a person asking me to read the Unity Consciousness, Collective Consciousness.
I know,
right?
I saw that.
All right, never mind. All right, the pre-solar eclipse launch of the Universal Collective Consciousness Strike For those that don't know, you can go to the website, andrewbartzels.com, and go on the Insights page, and you will get the Collective Consciousness Strike, the first 12 pages of a 19-page revocation.
It's a long
This one's a marathon,
one.
isn't it?
It is.
Debbie, you have read this one quite a few times.
Yes.
What is your view of it before we get into it?
Right. I find it's actually amazing. It shifts a lot, and I feel that in the collective consciousness, I feel a shift taking place.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
This thing I wrote in 3 hours, just after Christmas. And the original line had this little Christmassy tale to it, but I will return to the whole concept of why I wrote it. It had reached a point in my own personal evolution where I understood the game so well that this 3-hour masterpiece, which I call masterpiece, is about defining forced evolution versus natural co-creative evolution, and how forced evolution pretends to be organic evolution. That's the essence of this emanation. There are other teachings within it that are called signature frequency teachings, what is and what isn't a match. And there are times that things project matches at you, and you may have experienced it 25 million years ago, but that doesn't mean the I am now is a match. And that is abusing the law of one. We are all one. And they are using that to imprint upon us a degradation of our mind's ability to understand love. Through perverting love, like perverting the sacred feminine over century upon century, taking the masculine and taking it to war, creating ghosts and all those other unique frequencies that have now come into this amalgamation and smorgasbord of choice that we have now.
Right.
World of a distraction, an infrastructure of distraction, guiding us away from what is sacred. Okay? So Debbie and I are going to read this. We're also going to do a page or so at a time, and we'll talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
Now, this is a marathon one, so everyone. All right. The alchemical equity, union and communion, consciousness strike, reclaiming the carrot and stick revocation. I, in the ever-present moment of now, choose to form a multi-layered spiritual cord of alchemical equity for the expressed purpose of dis-cooperating with any forced evolutionary service in any dimension, time stream, galaxy, or universe in which I operate on as the signature frequency of light. I amplify my consciousness strike field, denying services to all forced evolutionary systems that are not a signature frequency match for the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. I open the union and communion hall of Peacemaker's message in all time streams, galaxies, and universes I exist on. Union and Communion Hall 000 is now open for all those who understand the message of peace. The warriors of the rainbow offer these teachings in the times of the now, for the reason of Peacemaker's creation. The teachers who will be teachers will step forward and accept the torch of eldership. This first message to all those who are ready to take up the mantle of responsibility for a full-on consciousness strike. Say these words from inside your heart. The moment of ever-present moments has come. From this point forward and backwards through all time-space, I break away from the hologram of light that is forced evolution, domination, and control from my signature frequency until they become an individual and collective match for the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. I choose to be a match for peace and harmony. The choice to go on full, universal exchange consciousness strikes has no limits of my rejections of contractual or blind tacit consent offers. My choice is to become a standing DNA light-body nation with celestial relations to Earth. My choice to incarnate does not include me into your forced evolutionary hologram of unsovereign reality. This message is to all those who drive forward this hologram of reality. This consciousness strike creates picket lines that demand collective bargaining and mediation. This standing DNA light-body nation of one demands full light-body equity for all forced evolutionary processes under your light dictatorship of domination and control. This being of the now, and for all ever-present moments of now, ceases, desists, cancels any actions, non-actions, energy exchanges, knowledge exchanges, celestial DNA exchanges, karmic or implicate order of thought constructs that create interconnectivity with any forced evolutionary systems that is not a signature frequency match for the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. To truly understand the levels of consciousness strike, I must name it to claim it. This is the power I am taking back from forced evolution systems of domination and control, while I am a match, a signature frequency match for full universal DNA light body consciousness strike. I am a being who is non-hierarchical order. My strike field extends to any pecking order, a collective agreement, or spiritual soul treaty created by an elite class that does not give full rights, duties, and responsibilities to each and every person as a sacred being on a sacred path of organic co-creative evolution with great spirit moving through the great mystery of life. I am a being of non-duality. With this, I ceased all forced duality operations, creations of interconnected holograms, of simulated dream spaces within your collective of domination and control that uses my DNA as a hierarchy system of forced duality. I am a being of equal co-creation, non-competitional expression of unity with Prime Creator. You are not my medium to knowledge of Source Light. You and all of your I am collective hierarchical yous are denied services in all color frequencies of time until you become a signature frequency match for equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order. This declaration of full spiritual consciousness strike extends to all of my spiritual entourage, ancestors, and unseen world of exchangement. I deny every service of spiritual exchange, any cooperation with any corporation or incorporation of false light intelligence. I am not a being in service to war through tacit consent of living in your forced evolutionary system. I deny all exchange of current or currency of energy exchange through the amassment of karmic debt through the Babylonian money magic system. Debbie, read this one.
It's extremely powerful.
Oh yeah. You know, those first 2 pages just set the tone of what is to come.
Right. Yes, it is. And it's pretty amazing, just that. My price is not set nor negotiable. I demand full spiritual alchemical equity in this moment. I choose to control this moment of now to testify what is blatantly obvious to anyone who is not a forced evolutionary zealot, martyring their life force for ideology theory, promoting their own creations as the only creation in existence worthy of illumination. I choose to sleep in the fires of great mysteries creation, not the fires of your miscreation, of miscreant minds, lost to the petty disputes of hierarchical concept of singular belief. I choose to dream with my source stream connection, with my celestial guides and guardians in full dreamtime engagement with me. All my celestial guardians and warriors step forward on this collective consciousness strike, enforcing zero exchange, equal co-creation, non-competitional, non-hierarchical order as a meditative means of collective exchange with this breakaway DNA, standing light-body dreamtime nation of universal one. I invite all soul family relations who choose to carry the torch of full consciousness strike with the systems of forced evolutionary pride. I invite all soul relations who are a signature frequency match for peace to join the union and communion hall and add your signature frequency of denial of all services on all dimensions, time, streams, galaxies, and universes, in which we all exchange light body DNA light codes. Each person is supported by the celestial dreamtime nations who hold the mantle of peacemakers, fire of creation. I invite all lightship captains needing emergency services of denial to take up DNA port relations with the union and communion hall, so our strike field can extend to any point in time-space, light creations. I extend our union and communion strike offers to any standing DNA light body nation embroiled in forced evolution. Deny your master's service. Deny the master of puppets the ability to put on a puppet show you believe in. We all walk away, but not in betrayal, but in love for ourselves and all our future relations who do not want war in their signature frequency of light co-creation. Forever, every present moment has been, will be, or is. I, as my collective DNA nation of one in communion and union, strike, create a color distortion field of complete and total denial of services to the system of hierarchical domination and control. This is a choice I chose to make solid, real now. I choose to say no to any further cooperation With your corporation or corporeal manifestation of spiritual therapy of destiny or fate, I deny all carrot and stick wisdom. I take back the stick as a form of power you perceive you have. I am a fully unpredictable source incarnate function with no light body mechanics you can manipulate, duplicate, or interconnect with until you and all your collective past, present, and future become a signature frequency match for union and communion. My shape-shifting my reality, shaping and forming the shapeless and formless. I begin the universal hunt for all beings needing collective bargaining services with the collective that used forced evolution as the means of civil interaction, posing as natural order. We bring back the meaning of life to all DNA light body nations who have been forced into service to a system designed to delay, deny, or disrupt the natural co-creative evolution of a soul, planning lifetimes through a fetus in the womb, process of light manifestation. I extend our collective power of denial of all celestial, galactic, and universal services to all universal citizen living this sacred path as their own self-illuminated master of the now. We extend our collective bargaining services to all celestial beings under the thumb of domination and control. We send you light sound energy creations so you may receive the fullness of our universal strike energy. We co-create with the entire whale singing nations of all celestial strike relations this songline of full-on celestial consciousness strike. Shed off their hierarchical order of soul commerce and incarnational means. We extend a fixed point in universal space-time to be a guidepost through all time frequencies, so each celestial nation may have a solid point in galactic and universal time to plan their own process without the system of light dictatorship dictating the celestial services rendered to its offspring. You are not a wet nurse to a spiritual ideology of pride. Stop following the gods that failed to prove they were gods. They only proved they could endure the passage of time without understanding the universal law of one. To all those in unawareness that they can strike, deep down inside you know you can reclaim your power of knowingness through the haze of race amnesia. It will take a single choice to allow Great Spirit to work with you, guided by your own actions to begin your movement of one, to be one with the signature frequency of peacemakers, so you and all your future yous can deny services to forced evolutionary systems of domination and control.
I was having a unique moment while you were reading.
I thought you were.
Yeah, it was a very unique moment as I was observing how far this message has gone.
Mm-hmm.
I speak to the unseen world that guides all those in 1 degree of separation from Prime Creator, forced into mediocrity of life path. Today is the day you clock out of time and walk over the metaphorical line of creation and decide to be on full-on consciousness strike with all DNA relations, using forced evolution as the means to create a false system of collective consciousness of elite minds ruling a collective in unknowingness. With full knowledge, they are using and abusing the divine law of one to force ideological belief systems into the light-bodied DNA generations of then, now, and will be. They can no longer create for you if you become a Dreamtime match for the Union and Communion Hall of Universal One. And so it begins. This address is to our ancestors, past, present, and future. This address is multi-dimensional, multi-galaxy, multi-universe address to all the factions that have taken it upon themselves to drive forward our hologram of shared unsovereign reality. We are on full consciousness strike. To all those self-supposed leaders of this generation of the Great Dreamtime Awakening, and to all factions operating in Earth dream space that manipulate and pervert the natural co-creative path of our species and planet, I say unto you the following. I reject the aberration known as global media machine, which spews out lies and fabrications so your influence belief system can retain power over all those who are still unaware of the true human potential in this reality, now shared between those awake and awakening. I reject the constant assaults of propaganda impregnated with the highest dense energy levels on our souls. I reject your system of domination and control. I spit out your sodium fluoride and GMO corn. I discard your IDs and passport systems. I delete your fiat currency and false debt created. I reject the notion of your false science of global warming. I reject your false equation of gravity and reality function. I reject your sense of culture that says we are a male-dominated society. I reject you and all that you stand for. I know love. Love is what it is. It is the experience. And in this particular reality, love is the foundational rule they tried to change. Love is mother and father. Love is earth. Love is Gaia. Love is the wind, the ocean, the rain, the moving of the seasons, and the passing of the stars. All of that is an expression of love. When we choose to live in this world full of love expression, domination and control has not a place here. We are unlimited beings who do not have to go to war. We do not have to defend. We have to learn our history. We have to look back at ourselves and our DNA and take apart the sacred geometry systems and return them to zero balance. With this stated, this union and communion strike extends to every line of light creation and every potential time stream, galaxy, and universe that needs equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order as a means of collective bargaining with their forced evolutionary system that is abusing the law of one as its means for ideological manifestation of teaching truth. To whom it may concern, in the forced evolution process of avoidance of responsibility, I give you back your responsibility to hold for yourself. I can no longer be the recipient of your wisdom or understandings of light journeys. You and all of your collective are hereby notified we are on communion and union strike. All celestial services are ceased, and all dimensional time streams, galaxies, and universes I simultaneously exist in. I manifest the Peacemaker's Lodge to be the guide and guardian to all those on strike with the forced evolutionary system of domination and control. I shared the torch of Elder Peacemaker's fire with all those in union and communion with this consciousness strike. We, the sovereign I am beings of the time, make our message known to the ancestors, past, present, and future. We are not your soul commerce market. We are our own civilization of one, separate of your projected hologram of unsovereign reality. You are banned from using our light stream in any form of representation of physical, non-physical frequency of light. We are not objects to be held as data points for precognitive interactions. You are now severed in connection with our store stream frequency until you become a signature frequency match for union and communion with the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. My nose stuffed up. All right.
I call to my sacred frequency of life force, the raw spirit that fuels my expression of life drive. I call to the 4 elements of Earth Mother's realms. I call to the wisdom of the moment in which I reclaim my power from the system of power distribution and the transmutation of life force into consumable fuel, interconnected to the Babylonian money system. I hereby cancel all contracts with each and every energy company, transmutation system, advertising system, sacred geometry science systems that create a process of valuing power for exchange of life force. I break all contract vows and agreements with all middlemen scenarios that block me from direct access to unlimited energy for self-consumption and equal co-creation with Earth Mother's realms. I erase all assumed forms of tacit consent to any form of being creating forced evolution through the use of power distribution centers, accounting systems, or any other means, esoteric or technological, that precludes me from unlimited access to Earth Dreamtime energy. Earth is a place of freedom and unity, not a field of useful life force to be milked of its very essence until it is dried up and useless once more. We are not beings of forced evolution. We are divine, co-creative beings of light manifested in this world as our divinity path of light stream. We choose to manifest here in the now, and with this choice, understand we walk into this world awake and aware of the systems of power exchange, the power lines, power generation, systems, hydroelectric, fossil fuels, each and every system that charges the individual anything at all for all transmuted life force to drive scientific belief system engines of locomotion or generation of electromagnetic energy. We, as a natural living being, do not consume life force that is not given its full right duties and responsibilities as the Blue Road ancestors offering their post-life force as ancestral wisdom. Any power generation or distribution process that creates an imbalance in the divine co-creative will of a light being on its natural path are hereby revoked at the source stream connection point of space-time. I erase the technological and esoteric blueprint that is imprinted up the fabric of time-space and the dreamweave of the planet or celestial system. I deliver an immediate call on debt return of my energetic investment in any lifetime during any of all my life force harvests. As the apex of my DNA ancestry contract holder or giveaways ever in amnesia to be in an association with my consciousness strike now. Any of my power being employed for domination and control will no longer work in any way or form that is not in consent from this I am now. No life force can ever be associated with any structure not in alignment with Earth Mother's true role in the universe, free of that false grid structure harnessing her. You have been served. Your borrowing from me is over from any lineage on any level, seen and unseen. Your irrational exuberance reliant on my life force is no longer supported. I call in all markers in time in which I was in service to the system of domination and control using the Babylonian money magic system. I call in the universal forensic accountant auditors to compare and contrast the service in light. I demand the immediate repayment of this investment of light in this time-space reality. I can extend no credit you in any dimension, time, stream, galaxy or universe I simultaneously exist on. I register you in the Akashic record for immediate debt collection from all celestial sources overdrawn to remedy and resolve with the forced evolutionary systems. I begin the immediate liquidation and disintegration of all your seen and unseen assets, thought constructs and ideological. Oh, okay, it's not spelled right. Ideological DNA theories. I demand the instant gratification of all sweat equity endured in the preservation of all time-space creations during the 4 uncreational paradoxes events you created. I upload the entire database of universal karmic debt for the universal tax auditors to discover the totality of karmic violations, to discover and resolve for the contract holders of violators in this moment to be triggered now.
Beautiful. This is the last page of the first part.
Okay.
The other parts here are in the full course. I may read them, I may not. The hierarchical system has played its last hierarchical chess move. The game is over. The Ponzi scheme has been seen in the unseen layers. This fraud time system is now exposed to all light being manifestations as indebted servitude without end. No power in association to the above stated amnesia power a giveaway have participated in will support the fraud time imposition anymore. Universal time is the only mechanism appreciated in a harmonic expression of life going forth. My power take back here allows me to feel the vitality of sleep in after every sleep with full dream time recall every time I wake. This is your 5:30 a.m. wake-up call, domination and control. You too may enjoy the infinite sleep-ins within some other universe that is not ours, as that process of remedy and resolve. With love, we co-create this full union and communion consciousness strike in all time streams, galaxies, and universes and potentials. With this stated, all beings in awareness and unawareness in the hierarchical management system who should require collective bargaining and mediation with their hierarchical collective, we extend to you this invitation to join Union Hall 000. Your dues are, you must be a signature frequency match for peace, union, and communion with the law of one. Powerful.
Oh, it's extremely powerful. And you don't realise until you start reading it again, I tell you.
Oh, yeah.
It's the different aspects of where we've been controlled and taken over and dominated and stripped of everything and just fed upon.
Fed upon. And then the way we take our power back is by this name it to claim it process.
Yeah.
It works through our unknowingness, our unawareness. And now when we transfer our unawareness to knowingness, how do you continue to keep that power that is always going to be eroded away as you stop paying attention to things? That's why I made it a longer expression than many of the other contract revocations, because it's something that's supposed to last,
Right.
have meaning to you.
It covers every aspect
Right.
of where we've been duped and taken
Right.
advantage of.
It's a breakdown of essence of all the teachings that came out between 2008 and 2017 of how screwed up this world really is.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's at the Black Law edition or it's at the military level, the UFO level, the psychic level, whatever it is, entertainment, it all has a pervasive aspect of teaching instant gratification, duality, separation, hierarchical competition.
And it entraps us because we want to, they provide, like we were talking about, the energy there. The energy that's provided for this whole planet. And what there should be free energy because it's running free, right?
Right.
And how they entrap it so that the only way we can use it is to pay for it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So part of the Union and Communion Consciousness strike was provoking all the power grid stuff, power distribution centers, so on and so forth. It was important to do that in this triathlon of mind, body, spirit revocation. And I call it that because there's stuff that the body must pay attention, there's stuff that the mind must pay attention, there's stuff the spirit pays attention to. And when we bring mind, body, spirit into the common moral code of do no harm, what I am and am not a signature frequency match for.
Right.
One of the lines in here is for as long as I am on universal consciousness strike, my entire entourage enforces all of these rules: non-competition, equal co-creation, non-hierarchical order, zero balance and exchange. That means nothing can feed on you. And that's clear intent to all of your guides and guardians, who can then bring in your infinite source connection of many more other guides and guardians who can begin clearing the field of negative energy around you.
So this would be a great thing like you ask everybody to do, and that's to record it in your own voice. And that'd be something that would be great because at the end of every day, you're subjected to all of this.
Yeah.
And to play it back while you're even sleeping
Oh, yeah.
would be a very powerful thing to do. Every night would clear your energy field.
I encourage people that you can go to our website, andrewbartzis.com, and download what Debbie and I had just read. There are some more pages for it that are in the course. The reason I've added more in there, as I said, it's meant to be a triathlon. And for those that want to take the course and go to the next 7 pages that come with it, they're more than welcome to. So I want to take a call and talk about the consciousness strike.
Yes.
So, Senor Robert.
Okay, we have a call for Cindy V.
Cindy V, are you there? Caller, Cindy V.
Hello?
Hello, how you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good.
Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Texas.
Welcome, Cindy from Texas. Did you have any questions about the Union and Communion Consciousness strike they were just reading?
Yes, I do actually. I'm still trying to put it into perspective. It's pretty long to think about, but I'm just wondering how some of the stuff I kind of intuitively understand, and it's been messing up my life. So I don't know. I mean, what else can I do besides saying the revocation? How can I better help myself?
Record them and listen to your own voice in a meditative state. Actually using your own voice, reading it out loud, and you use your intuitive skill on yourself. Are you emulating the message? Are you just reading it like a third grader? Or are you empowered by it, passing the energy on to you, who is the same person that is reading it?
I see what you mean.
That is called passing on the torch of eldership to the next I am you, moment to moment living.
Okay. Yes, I do understand that.
Yeah.
Also, I had written a comment. Growing up, I had selective mutism. Can you please elaborate on that?
I couldn't hear what you were saying. Can you say that again?
Oh, I'm sorry. Growing up, I had selective mutism.
Mutism.
Can you please elaborate how
So-
I received that?
So you were selective mutism, meaning you could speak at school, but you couldn't speak at home?
Yes.
So I'll be absolutely brutally honest and blunt. You were haunted terribly. And your home
I
was,
was, actually.
yeah, terribly haunted. And you suddenly figured out a way to be unhaunted when you left. So there was a power struggle in the ghosts in the home, and they changed the rules. So whenever you would leave, you weren't fully haunted. Just lots of energy was fed on you. And then when you got to your place of school, your personality could come back. But when you got home, it actually had physical body control over you.
Yeah, I understand it. I went through a very horrible crisis.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought, am I okay now? How did that happen?
Ghosts, usually ancestral energies. I think the most important thing for you to understand is you need to begin healing the body differently than the way you are now. You need to use selective healing techniques that go after the throat chakra in a very refined version of, let's just say, sound and light therapy. So,
Like music?
no. Did you ever sing growing up?
I used to love singing, but like I said, my throat was just mostly blocked, and I can still feel blocked.
Okay, so what you can do is go take voice lessons.
Okay.
So if you
Like
have,
toning?
I have a little other thing to suggest for you, as there are some very positive voice trainers out there, and one of them is called World's Greatest Speaker Training, and I believe the next one that is coming up is in November. It internationally acclaimed teachers and speakers there that literally bring you up on stage and help you transform your voice. People with full-on stutters end up being presenters and speakers. I would suggest that you look that up. Google World's Greatest Speaker Training. World's Greatest Speaker Training. With
Why
Brenda,
was I a match to haunting?
because your parents
That
were.
really bothers me.
Because your parents were. Your parents had a life before you were born.
I kind of understood that. I could feel some of the stuff that was coming from them, but I mean, intuitively and in hindsight, as I'm thinking about it, you know, the younger version of myself, I could feel that, but I mean, I was still little. I couldn't comprehend it.
Right. And because you were so little, it influenced your ability to evolve and grow. Now, as you get older in your experience, and you get more, let's just say, mysticality under your belt, you will discover that all of the damage that was done to you is going to be a massive and great gift to actually speak Spirit's language. That which was
Like
stolen.
channeling?
No. That which was stolen to you will be repaid 10 million fold.
That was
Channeling.
very hurtful. I went through a very intense period.
So what I would suggest is you get speaker training, voice training, because that will help release the trauma of suppression. Now the other thing is to actually have past life regression, and Debbie is a past life regressor.
Yes, that's how how I actually healed myself, and it took me over 3 years actually to get over the shock and I think I had post-traumatic stress disorder.
Oh,
just
no
from
doubt.
those years, and it would even affect my sleep.
Yes. So how much past life regression therapy did you have?
I've been speaking throughout the years with a channeler.
Oh.
Well, he channels, so
Okay, that's not past life
it's
regression.
sort of like it.
No, it's not. It's not at all like that.
No? Oh.
No. Past life regression is where you're put into a hypnosis state and you are asked questions about your past life.
I've done that one time, and I was not able to be put under.
Okay.
I went to Austin.
Because you can't let your mind go right now, because now you have control over your body and you don't want to let go of it.
No, I don't.
Right.
Yeah, because there's the fear that if you've been haunted and you feel that you had been taken over or been controlled in some way, shape or form, then the fear is that if you let go and allow yourself to be, relaxed, the fear is that someone else is going to take over your mind. And the thing is that you have to have the trust with the person that you're working with so that they can just put you into a nice relaxation where you're still conscious and that your subconscious mind connects with your subconscious mind and you can get the answers or the root cause of why you chose that experience and what your soul contract was with that. But you come up with those answers and it's your experience. And then at the end of it, we can release it and heal that aspect so that we can then, what I incorporate with that is that I get the higher self to come through and dissolve the negative imprints in the cellular memory. And that's where the healing takes place.
Right, I see.
Right.
Okay.
So the other thing is you need to have serious work done on your physical body. Deep tissue massage, lymphatic drain, very important for you.
I sleep a lot, and it's very draining just to be awake.
Okay.
Actually, I'm
Yeah.
always tired
That's depression.
mentally.
That's depression.
Well, I'm not really depressed.
Yes, you are.
It's
You're
more
sleeping.
like,
You are sleeping all
Oh,
the
am I?
time. Yes, you are. You're sleeping all the time. That's depression. Okay?
well,
That's-
I've been through depression before, and it was way worse. So I think I'm
This-
okay.
No, this is just a
I just
depression
feel
that's
tired.
No, this is depression that's affecting you a different way.
Oh,
So sometimes you got to really be brutally honest with yourself. And Debbie, how hard is it to be brutally honest?
It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Really come face to face with what's really going on is not the easiest thing for any of us. Yeah.
Yeah. When I mean brutal
Right.
honest, you mean absolute brutal honesty with yourself. And that's a skill you got to
yeah,
learn.
I can handle that.
Skill you
The
got to
thing is,
learn
I don't
and
know
practice.
what to do about it. But now you've given me a few pointers, and I can.
Now, the next
do
thing
something
here
about
is
it.
what type of foods are you eating?
Just your normal food.
Okay.
Eggs for breakfast.
Okay.
Hamburger for lunch.
Okay.
Normal food.
Do you ever do all organic?
I've been wanting to, and I have seen a difference when
So
I
your
did try to eat veggies for a week.
Okay, your intuition is drastically affected by impure foods. Do you pray over every meal?
I've been wanting to, but I just don't do it.
Well, until such a time that you do, you are going to be continuing to have these depression issues. So ghosts try to take over your dream world, and that's your intestinal tract. And it's through food that we heal ourselves from the greatest traumas that are infected by ghosts. So
Right.
it isn't about the McDonald's cheeseburger or the lean ground beef you got in the refrigerator. It's about the pureness of where it came from, how you treated it, the energy that you put into it, the time, effort, and energy that created all of that, and then how you consumed it and loved it. That is a
Okay.
broken process in you that you can no longer ignore. You literally are not going to go any farther until you fix your food issue. Your depression is based off of your food.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
you have sense there. I have been thinking about that.
Okay?
Um,
So how
One more-
often do you allow people to do body work on you?
I do occasionally do energy work.
No,
I go with a
body
lady.
work. Actually,
Body,
someone massaging you deep tissue.
No, I don't do that.
You can no longer ignore that either if you want to go further into using your intuition at higher skills.
I do, yes.
Then you must literally get over that. You must figure out how to go and have that done by someone else that is physically touching you and grinding
Oh, gosh.
away
I don't
psy-
like anybody.
psychic cysts. Debbie, let's talk about psychic cysts for a second.
Right, where the energy builds up.
Yeah, the energy
Yeah.
builds up.
So everything that we do and what we experience gets embedded into our cellular memory. And when we have some traumatic things that are happening to us, it builds up, and it's almost like an energy cyst that gets locked into certain areas of the body where you're experiencing the trauma.
And as our body workers start to go, dozens of these appear, and sometimes it's just one big giant one.
Right.
You have 2 massive psychic cysts underneath both of your shoulder blades, and a massive one on your right and left buttocks. So you can't function normal with those there until you allow someone to come in there and literally knead it like bread until all of that energy comes out and new blood and new flow goes through there. It agreed.
Time's running out.
So these are the things that you need to do, the self-healing and the self-nurturing at a whole new scale you have not allowed in yourself before. And there is where you discover why your mutism exists, how to heal it, and then how to make it into a masterful gift. You need minimum of 40 grams of protein every day. Minimum. Every day you don't get 40 grams of protein, you're keeping your body in survival mode and saying, I'm an unsovereign being.
Have you ever done juicing at all? Is she there?
Are you there?
Voice doesn't really.
There you are.
Okay. So, what I do sometimes when I'm feeling my body's very sluggish and I'm tired, I do a green juicing, and you can do spirulina. You can get green food mix that you can put in juice. Probiotics are really good for you to get your gut more settled, get the right balance in there.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of things you can do with nutrition to just give the energy back into your body, because if you're feeling low energy like that, you need to really support it with the right type of foods, as well as you can do juicing, fresh juices, fresh vegetable juicing. But spirulina is really great.
Yes, okay, that's great advice.
All right, caller, we've got to move on. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I've got a question here from the chat room. This is a lolly type question. Greetings, Brother Andrew. There is some big buzz going around the discovering of confirmation of trust accounts held by the Federal Reserve Bank and all the citizens.
For all citizens.
This is just straw man stuff. So you're asking for my view on that. That's the black law magic world, the banking that's tied to the Babylonian trust system. As long as you are entangled into paperwork, you have already lost the game. I have studied paperwork, done paperwork with the top 20 law ninjas of the world. They haven't just discovered those trust accounts. They've known about them since the 1800s, the 1900s. Every generation has figured out about them. No one's ever been able to do anything, even in the internet age. So I kind of call out all the law gurus that are out there now to stop teaching the way you're teaching. Stop being zealotry that it's only through paperwork, and understand there is an energy side. And until those of the industry make a clear conscious separation of Black's law world of magic versus real reality world, Black's law magic is the instrument of domination and control. You don't need to use it. There's a whole other way. Yes, you can use the magic of the Black's law against itself, but ultimately you will still lose. You will still lose. That does not mean to not follow that passion. I had that passion for a very long time, and it took a lot of my own self-realizations to understand you are not winning against the law system until the entire sacred geometry system is taken apart. I was the one that came up with Operation Spitwad of how to remove all 5,300 sitting judges across the United States for under $200,000. You can go on to all of the radio shows that I did with Rod Klass and Rebecca Cope and find 70 hours of Law and Sovereignty. All right, so that was a good question. So we're going to take one more caller, Robert.
Okay, next caller is Ed from San Diego area.
Ed from San Diego, are you there? Ed from San Diego. Hey, Ed, how you doing today?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Great. Awesome. I'm doing great. I'm actually surprised my call got answered. I wasn't expecting to talk. I was just
Well,
listening.
you got through the wheel of callers.
I did.
Good focus.
I don't know if you remember, Andrew. We spoke about 2 years ago. I called you, and I was at the beginning of my journey, and I knew nothing about what I was
Ooh.
to
What you were about
experience.
to experience. Oh no, what's coming next?
And well, I don't know how much into detail I should go, but basically, my consciousness has just been expanding in every department. I have like different abilities I've never really learned how to control. My most pressing thing is that at times I'll fall asleep, and about 2 years ago, I came out of my body and I flew around a little bit, and it seems like I'm stuck trying to do that again.
Okay.
And
What was the main theme we talked about in the session?
I was beginning to do daily Reiki sessions on myself, and I was starting to get like symbols, and I was starting to get like Morse codes on different meridian points.
Did I tell you about saturating the chakra points with the 6 symbols to go up and down the spinal column with a frequency of light?
No, we didn't go that deep into detail back then, but it's something kind of similar to exercises I've been doing.
Okay. So, what was it from the session that triggered the change for you?
Honestly, I think I was able to cast out parasites that were in different energy centers, and
Freedom.
yeah,
Got
freedom.
got the ticks and the bugs off of you.
I did, and I guess I wanted to ask, how am I to move forward? Like, I know the things that I can do, but I can't really start telling people here, like, let's do this real quick, or I really don't know how to put myself out there.
All right. So, it's a twofold scenario. It's a lack of confidence in you and the business skills that are needed, as well as a shift in consciousness, which now must have more confidence in your skill if you're going to be out in business, in which you don't have skills in. So you're stuck in a tug of war of confidence.
I can see that.
Okay? How do you stop the tug of war? With your own energy and your own system. So apply right now. If you saw that in somebody, what would you say to them? Duplicate yourself in front of yourself and see your own energy body in its own tug of war, and what is the fix for it? It's just the flow of confidence. Do you see a fix?
Sure. Yeah, I know. I know it's already there. It's
Okay.
just...
Now you must understand, now the journey begins. The journey into confidence that's so intense that there's 10,000 times the vision behind that. The journey of 10,000 steps begins with 1. You're now on 20 step 20, 30, 40. When you're on step 9,999, another journey is going to begin after that. And another journey after that, another journey after that, until you've built confidence up on both sides. You're saying you don't know how to put yourself out. Well, actually you do. You've done it right now. You've just gone public. Okay?
Uh-oh.
All right. Your cherry's been popped.
I
Now
can't
tell-
solve it now.
Now tell that to your ego that it can no longer use you against that. I have now announced you're public. Tough luck.
Thank you.
Okay? Take that confidence and grow with it. You do have to learn to erode the ego because it is the self-defeating part of you.
Yeah.
So Debbie, what are some of your little ways of, you know, seeing and dealing with the ego, especially when it comes up in private sessions when you're in regression?
Well, when I'm working with my in sessions and everything, I just drop straight down into my heart. So I'm not dealing with the ego so much because I'm trusting a spirit to come through. But prior to that, you know, I know Andrew spoke to me several years ago. You know, you need to get out there more, and like you're saying, the ego, right? So my little ego's like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough, and I don't know what people are going to think of me if I get out there. And he was like, I want you on my show. Oh, I don't know if I want to do that. You know, how am I going to do that? And it's really just starting to really trust yourself that you can. There's people out there who are still searching for what you are, what you can give them, where you are at your level. They want to get to where you are. And so it's just really being in service. And I look at not being in the ego so much as I'm here to be of service. And so I've got to drop the ego, the fear about, you know, putting myself out there, and just realise that. So I just ask Spirit to me, just bring to me the people who are ready to be healed and who I can really benefit. And if, you know, and then the other people will find who will help them and benefit them. So I just leave that open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
I was just going to say that with volunteering and giving like healings or readings for free, would it be appropriate like in an orphanage or like in a animal shelter or something like that? Or should I just focus on other things?
You focus on other things right now. So orphanages are not the place for you to be doing readings in any way, shape, or form.
Sure.
I don't know why that came up in your conversation. You are not skilled. You got to give the orphan the chance. All right. All right, give the little kid a chance. He's got a knockdown already, because you're going to be a big influence in them. So what I suggest for you is to go to psychic fairs, or what city you are in? San Francisco?
San Diego.
San Diego. So I think there's a big wharf down there where you can just go down anywhere and put a table up and be a psychic. I know in San Francisco and all over California, wherever there's big wharfs, there's people doing that.
Yeah, there are a lot of markets.
Bookstores, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And do it for donation. And then start a Facebook page. And there's where you can be lights, camera, action, where it's somebody calls you via Facebook, and let's say they donate $20 to the animal shelter or to the orphanage. There you go. They get 20 minutes with you. Okay?
Sure.
You do need some sort of energy exchange sooner or later. Mm-hmm. Right now it's confidence building. Confidence building, confidence building. Until you got so much confidence, you're ready to put a price to it.
Okay.
Okay. So how has your diet been like lately?
It's been okay. I do tend to eat organic and natural. Sometimes I do go on a little bit of coffee and energy drink binges because I'm in school and I work full time, but I try to balance it out. I supplement. I started noticing that when I was doing energy healings on myself daily, I started noticing that, or I just started getting the intuition that I needed to start doing supplements, like different fish oil, and different lipids, vitamins, of course.
Beautiful. So you need to completely cut out the 5-hour energy drinks. That is actually damaging your psychic skill. It's burning out your ability to have high pH when you need it.
Burns out the adrenals.
Yeah, it burns out the adrenals too. So you also need to add chlorophyll to your supplements.
Okay.
And you want to take your chlorophyll in a cup of water first thing before your coffee in the morning, so it's completely empty stomach.
Okay.
So chlorophyll, when it goes into the stomach sees it as blood and allows it to pass right to the intestinal tract and instantly absorb into your body, which adds oxygen and new stuff. Mm-hmm. You need this boost to help, let's just say, turn the engine over. Think of those night cars from the 1900s that have the crank. And if you ever actually had a crank one, it's not easy. Okay? So you think of your crank on your belly button, all right? And maybe even start a visualization process where you start turning your crank and, you know, sending energy right to that spot and turning over the soup that's inside the stomach and intestinal tract. Literally convert the energy into something and start alchemizing it through exercise focused around your core.
Great.
Okay. So generally, how much partying are you doing as a college student now?
I'm doing an online grad school program in complementary and alternative health, and so it's class a month, and so we meet online once a week, and then I just do homeworks and assignments, but it's usually in the evenings or weekends because I work full time doing research and cancer.
So you don't do any partying at all?
Not really. I do smoke recreational. I do smoke cannabis recreationally, but it's mostly indoors.
So you got to get yourself out on the meat market once per week so that your masculine energy can be part of that crank again.
Okay.
You need your masculine energy as much as your feminine energy to be a healer. Okay?
Yeah.
You just need to learn to transform it, transmute it. And that is an earned skill set. You know, sometimes, Debbie, in your sessions, you have to really turn on the male energy to something, and then there are other times it's the soft hand.
Yeah, both. It's interesting. When I was when I was healing myself, you know, I went from feeling depressed and a doormat and gave my power away and all that sort of thing. Came out. The only way to take my power back is I come out like a roaring lion, and then I had to find balance. Yeah. And so now I know how to. I can flip in it either way. Yeah. But try to keep in balance.
Lion versus kitty cat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay. So, any other questions?
Yeah. One last question. I think it's. I just remembered one of the most important ones I had for you. About a couple of weeks ago, I believe I saw a light ship. I was sitting out on my balcony, and the little UFO went here and there, and in particular ways that it's indistinguishable. And so a couple of hours later, I bumped into an article about Syrian's light ships that are around us, sending light waves and healing energies. And so I wanted to ask if you could see a connection with me and the higher aliens or interdimensional beings.
They're everything and more than you can possibly comprehend.
Wow.
Okay. So did you see a light ship? Yes, you did. But I bet you've seen 1,000 of them and never knew it.
I've seen a few.
Yeah. Never realized it.
Yeah.
Okay. What does that really mean for you in that synchronistic moment? You actually knew instead of the moments you didn't know. It has affected you in memory long term. So that's a confirmation from your soul saying you're in the exact right place of space-time.
Sure.
Okay? The proverbial alien was dumping its toilet stuff, you know, down on Earth, and you saw them, you caught them.
Beautiful.
Okay. All right, caller. Thanks a lot for calling. We got to move on.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
There's a question on the bottom there that.
Okay, what does it say? So hard not to buy. I can't read today.
Well, basically, they're talking about, you know, we're talking about getting out of the buy and exchange system. But how can you and become sovereign? But you know, we are an exchange system, a banking system right now. So they're saying, how can we stay sovereign?
To understand yourself as a singularity, in duality, not accepting duality, but is creating my own singularity through my duality, so that I can create a mask that the system sees but does not understand, cannot value or predict in any way, shape, or form. That's what the consciousness strike is about, is that the blueprint of how to live in the system, because you're on strike, energetic strike. This whole system is designed to harvest your energy. If it can't harvest your energy, in any way, shape, or form, it's taxes taking from you are nothing. You paying money at Target, is it really feeding the system? No, it's not. Because what is the Babylonian money magic? It's all trading of curse. Every dollar bill is a fucking curse. Every one. All money worldwide is a curse to make you believe that there's gold or something else valued behind it when it's just digits made up by the elite. That's all. That's it. Digits made up.
And so by doing the revocations and things like that, we disconnect from that.
And take your power back.
Yes.
Your power of belief back.
And so we still can trade in the system, but we don't have to be energetically fed upon by it.
That's right.
Okay.
So I want to thanks a lot for everyone for showing up for this incredible Saturday show. And I know we had some technical issues when we first started, but I want to say we're going to be back next Tuesday. We are going to have a Living the Mystical Life Daily webcast this coming Thursday. And next Saturday at the same time, we will have another live call-in show. So we encourage more people to come next Tuesday, next Thursday, and next Saturday. Get your opportunity to call in, have your question answered in the chat. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you.